Mic check, mic check. I think you guys can hear me. Mic check, mic check. If you cannot hear me, that's a problem, but hopefully you guys can. It seems like it has. Okay, you guys can hear me. You guys can hear me. All right, so I guess we could do a little bit of an icebreaker. Where are you guys watching from before we get started? My day was very good. I'm gonna pretty much tackle each of these. I'm gonna try to do it as fast as I can, and try to get this live stream within an hour and 30 minutes, kind of how I did the last live stream. So, because these are some very good topics. But where are you guys watching from? You guys can comment that on the live chat, and then I guess we can get started right away. But I hope you guys are doing well. I've been all right. God bless you, brother. Brother David. God bless you, brother Orlando. Um, Hope everything is going fine with you. We have quite a bit of news here. God bless you. God bless you, all the people that are joining. We got Virginia in the house. I don't really wanna it's very tough to start live streams quick because I like to jump into it right away. Like I don't want to do icebreakers, I don't want to do anything. But then the problem is that people end up joining later and then I have to repeat myself. So it's almost like I guess it's a preference thing. Some people just jump right on it and they just start talking blah 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 blah. And they don't say anything, they don't say hi, they don't say nothing, and then the live stream is done. And they don't repeat themselves, but I have a bad issue. I tend to repeat myself because people come and ask questions and they go, "What's going on?" So we'll do this bit of an icebreaker. We got New Jersey in the house, L.A., Virginia, Georgia. I might visit Georgia soon. So wait, you're in Virginia, Alton? I thought you was in Georgia. Cali, Los Angeles. All right, we got some fellas here. So God bless you guys. This is brother Adam. You got a different YouTube channel. Okay. All right, we got LA in the house. I guess we could get started. Okay, cool. I guess we can get started. So shout out to New Jersey. Shout out to all the folks out there. Okay, so we're gonna start reviewing this real quick. We have Ruslan who had a conversation with Jay Dyer, and Jay Dyer and Ruslan pretty much opened up on Sam Shamoon, who's been doing much better, by the way, has not been crashing out as much. So you got to give credit where credit is due. The guy hasn't been crashing out as much. So shout out to Sam for that. We got to be honest, like every once in a blue, I'll click on one of his live streams. He's calmed down, right? Since that kind of, um, you know. Now, from what I heard, apparently the Orthodox got their behinds kicked by Voice of Reason in a debate. There was some kind of debate going on where Voice of Reasons kicked the Orthodox behind. So I'm not really interested in that kind of conversation, regardless. What's the true church or what have you? I don't know what the debate was on, but it was something on Orthodoxy versus Catholicism, and the consensus is that Orthodoxy got their behinds kicked, and obviously Sam Shamoon was celebrating on that, but so was everybody else, right? Everybody that's a Catholic was celebrating the Orthodox got their behinds kicked. Essentially, the argument is that Orthodox believers, or apparently Orthodox believers, essentially they just want people not to be Catholic. That's the consensus. And their arguments are just arguments against Catholicism. That's what they basically argue. But it appears that Voice of Reason kicked that Orthodox behind, and that was pretty much that. So that's pretty interesting. So again, Voice of Reasons debated unorthodox, and yeah, I heard that's what I heard, man. I heard Catholics were kicking behind, man. So you got to give credit where credit is due regarding debates and things of that sort. Now, I don't agree with either church. You feel me? I don't agree with the Orthodox Church. I don't agree with the Catholic Church. I think both of them have a lot of false doctrines that we discuss on this channel all the time, doctrines that they're unable to prove. They're unable to prove it. They just don't have anything there. Intercession of the saints, the Eucharist, they don't have anything. They just don't have it. I'm more comfortable with intercession than the Eucharist, but I've been debating the Eucharist and no one has given me anything substantial regarding those particular doctrines. So, that's where I stand with that. I think they both have false teachings, but regarding that particular debate, Voice of Reasons kicked that behind. So, Voice of Reasons with the easy W. Orthodox, you guys got your behinds handed to y'all. So hopefully you guys can recover because I was very, very bad. I got on Twitter, I got on YouTube. Not a good time to be Orthodox, in regard to believing Orthodoxy, not a good time. You guys got your behinds kicked. I say it again. I'm a Protestant. You guys got your behinds kicked. I'll say it 5,000 times. You guys took a L. It looked very bad. You know what I'm saying? Very, very bad. I mean, the Orthodox guy was manifesting on the mic. You didn't give me any good. It was bad. It was very, very bad. It was very, very bad. The Ortho did look like they got whipped. Yeah, they got whipped, brother. They got whipped. It was a beating. It was a beating. Okay. So, that's all I have to say about that particular debate. You Orthodox folks, I'm sorry. You guys got to get y'all get back. Get somebody to do a rematch or something. Because the way you guys got it was bad. Let me see if my suppressor is on, because I don't want anybody listening to me. I don't want anybody listening to my text going off. But let's start rocking and rolling. Okay. All right.
I loved you and Sam Shamoon debating on valuetainment for the Christian position. I was like, y'all coming together, the Catholic and the Orthodox together, united. And they even tried to throw out some bait to try to get you guys to kind of turn on each other a couple times. And you guys didn't take the bait. Thought it was a great debate. Thought it was fantastic. And then you and Sam have your situation. What was your impression of the debate you had with him as a debate partner on valuetainment? And then when do you think that devolved to what ended up devolving to, which we'll get into?
Yeah. So,
seems like a lot of Orthodox depend on Dyer. That's very sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have other guys that you can debate. Debate Dyer, that's laughable. You know what I'm saying? That's laughable. It's laughable because that can't be the end all be all. You got to have some more kind of candidates. You feel me? If all you can say is debate Dyer after y'all got y'all behinds whipped, that's very bad news for the Orthodox. Orthodox, y'all got y'all behinds cooked. Y'all got cooked. Take your L and go home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, take your L. Orthodox. If I were Orthodox, I wouldn't show my face around the internet for the next 2 months. I wouldn't. Not after that beating that they got. Not after that beating. So if you're Orthodox, stop saying get Dyer. Get some better candidates. Or not better, but get some other candidates. Because clearly, depending on Dyer's bad news. Because you got another Orthodox and he got his behind kicked. So don't say Dyer, because God forbid Dyer is no longer here anymore. What are you going to do? Ask him to pray for you in heaven so you can get his knowledge or something? I don't know what you guys believe in intercession. I don't know what the heck. But if he's no longer here, who's your next candidate? Nobody. Because clearly, when that guy debated Voice of Reasons, he got knocked out. That was a knockout. That was an embarrassment. That was an embarrassment. That was worse than when James White debates Trent Horn. That was worse. Sometimes you hear me say, yo, Trent Horn beat James White. That beating that Orthodox guy got against Voice of Reasons, that was worse than when James White debates Trent Horn. If you're Orthodox, you can't show your face around anymore. Take a little break. 2, 3, 4 months. Take a break. That was bad. That was very, very bad. Okay, that was bad. You guys got it. You guys got to get it back. I don't know what you guys got to do, but you got to get your look back, man. You gotta do something. You got to do something because this is very bad. Let's carry on.
Had been on pretty good terms for 5 years-ish, 6 years.
Wasn't he kind of flirting with Orthodoxy a bit?
Yeah, and then I think he decided to go the papal route.
Yeah.
So,
and his thing is like generally like I just want people to go to high church. I just want people to go to apostolic succession church. Which is really interesting because I don't think it works that way. But you can enlighten me.
No, we just did a stream with my buddy Kai from Orthodox Shahada critiquing that position of the idea of a sort of a generic apostolic Christianity, which it doesn't really make sense. But that debate happened because they were really looking for on Fresh and Fit. They wanted like a high profile Muslim Christian debate.
It was Fresh and Fit. My bad.
Yeah,
I said valuetainment.
Sorry, but I just want to give because I appreciate Myron setting that up. That was cool of him to do that. And they were like, we want really kind of aggressive debaters because we're going to put aggressive Muslims on. And it was going to be Daniel, Hakikachu, and Jake. And Jake canceled for whatever reason because he didn't want to do it. But So then they brought in Ijaz, who's, I don't think, a very good debater, but I was happy to like do the, step back, because Shamoon definitely knows Islam.
Very well.
And he knows the hadiths, infinitely better than I do and all that. So yeah, I thought it was a perfect team up for that situation. And I tried to bring some, philosophical internal critiques to the table. And I think it was a blowout, because if you go, and I mean, it's had multiple millions of views across the platforms. If you go to the Fresh and Fit channel, you can see 40,000-ish comments, 98% Islam lost. So optics were pretty bad for Muslims. So, I mean, that was I think the biggest debate of last year, except for Westside Billy Carson. Like, those are the two biggest debates last year in terms of views. So it was providentially great. And then, you've got Sam moving continually the last couple of years in the direction of papism. And, my buddies and I, we obviously didn't want him to go in that direction. So we're having this kind of backdoor DM conversation for a long time.
With him directly. Yeah. Him chatting directly behind the scenes. Okay.
And the weird part was that we've been talking about setting up a debate on his channel about Orthodoxy papism, right?
You and him one-on-one,
or with a panel. Okay. We were discussing all possible options. Like, we were even talking about doing presentations, just not even a debate. Like I do it, because we've done that in the past. For example, we had a dispute with Vocab Malone some years ago. So Sam invited me and FDA to come on and do a presentation, and then separate Vocab Malone do a presentation. That way nobody's getting mad, and you can hear both sides. So we discussed that as a possibility. We discussed a panel, round table. But anyway, long story short, in the context of this, I just sent him a DM saying, hey, it was a very cordial, do you want to set up a debate on Trinity and the essence energy distinction? Because I think it's really important, contrasting to the Roman Catholic position, the Orthodox view of the energies. And he just flipped out. It was like,
that was just the one
how
thing?
dare you text?
I don't know, man. I never felt comfortable about energies, distinction, and things like that. Seems like only the majority of the people that say it that way are the Orthodox. I never heard a Protestant talk about energy distinctions, and obviously never heard a Catholic. So it seems like the Orthodox are the ones that articulate it in that way. For me, it doesn't really sit right for whatever reason. I wouldn't call the Trinity three energies distinctions or anything like that. I don't know, man. I just say three separate. I would say three distinct persons, one being. I just don't feel comfortable saying that kind of language, but I wouldn't debate it either, right? I don't think it's something debate worthy. It's kind of like, why do I have to say it that way? But yeah, that's just my thing. But apparently, Jay Dyer wanted to debate Sam on that particular topic, and then obviously we'll continue playing.
Text me while I'm
live
streaming because you're working for the double. It's like, what? Like, been totally cool for 6 years, and then it's like one tweet or one text.
There's nothing else behind that.
No. In fact, they even said in the next message, like, hey man, there's no reason to get upset. Let's set up a timed response. That way nobody gets angry. And it just flipped out, even like it went even crazier. So at that point I was like, okay, something else is going on. So I just removed myself from that situation.
Essence, energies distinction. I don't want to get super in the weeds on it, but it seems like Catholics take a more God's simplistic, and that his parts are him, God's love is God, God's power is God, and you guys have a fair to say a bit of a distinction between God's essence and his energies, and that's the foundational disagreement.
So he had the reason that came up was that
he like mocked the energies thing a bit, right?
After the thing, but like he was presenting a differing views of the Trinity from Protestant, Roman Catholic, Orthodox people, and that's what prompted me to message him and say, in our view, there's not just a
Eastern Catholics believe in essence energy distinction. God's essence is unknowable. God uncreated energies is how we know him. It allows us to participate in the life of God without becoming God. Yeah, I wouldn't use that language, brother. I just wouldn't use that language. You know what I'm saying? God's power, I would say God's power, because of God's power and, his will for creation to be able to participate with him and things like prayer and his will and works and things like that. It's within the power of his will. That's how he actualized the world, and I leave it there. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound heretical, but I just wouldn't really use that language. I'll align more with Catholics and all the Protestants in the world. Okay.
a filioque and non-filioque model. There's also the question of the energies that we believe is directly connected to the Father as the sole cause, or the monarchia in the Godhead. So monarchical Trinitarianism, which Dr. Bo Branson is a really good
I got a couple of that are monarchical Trinitarians.
And we think that like that doesn't stand alone. It also kind of necessarily connects to the doctrine of the energies, because the energies have the same movement as the persons in the triad.
Interesting.
Anyway, so yeah, I included in the offer, like, why don't we discuss Trinity, filioque, and energies? And I think because he doesn't really know about that at all, he's new to a lot of these topics, it was easier for him to just sort of flip out, poison the well, spoil the possibility of having that debate.
Yeah, he had crashed out on me the week before that. He had crashed out on somebody else the week before that, and I was privately talking to him, like trying to get him to walk off certain ledges because it was like a consistent
That's my experience too.
of like, hey man, like I'm not trying to attack you.
Right.
Like,
You know, that's kind of the thing, man. It's hard to deal with people when they kind of push the narrative that you're trying to attack them. It's unfortunate. It's really hard to deal with people like that. Um, you know, everybody has their issues, and I kind of want to leave it there. But obviously, Jay Dyer and you know, Ruslan here kind of saying, you know, they try to strike up a conversation or they were talking to him, and then one thing led to another, and guess what? It made it seem like, or Sam made it seem like they were attacking him. So that's what they're basically saying here. You know, it is very frustrating talking to individuals like that.
if my audience asks, what do I think about this thing that happened?
Right.
I'm going to talk about it. If you don't want me talking about it, I won't ever talk about you again. I won't put you in a thumbnail. I won't do any of that sort of stuff. And then he's like, no, it's all good. It's all good, brother. Thank you for reaching out. And we had a really good conversation. And then it just completely went left.
It's
and
like bipolar. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, there's something going on there. The stuff that he said though seems to have crossed some lines I've never seen him cross before. Where he started talking about your wife. He really jumped out the window and said some wild stuff that I've never like I thought there was certain stuff that's just off limits.
Yeah.
You know, and how did you process that? And at that point, were you just kind of like, oh, this is something else? He's having a mental health episode and I just need to leave him alone? Was that kind of your temperament more or less?
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a mocking way. I think actually there is some kind of like probably a bipolar thing going on. And I know he said I had a tough time with his situation, which I don't talk about people's personal drama. Usually I don't know about what's going on with him, but I think that sometimes people have kind of like what we talked about earlier with Alex, like there might be something going on personally, and then that affects sort of the internet optics and how they're operating on the internet. So
I'll tell you firsthand, man. Like I've seen people in real life, people that on the internet consider me enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like there are people I've seen. I'm not going to say any names or anything like that. Some people they've even made videos on me. You know what I'm saying? Exposing this, exposing that. And as soon as I see them in real life, oh, you're a great man, JP. You know, blah blah blah. Like they never made the videos. It's very very trippy. So you know, someone would be quick to talk about your mom on the internet, or somebody would be quick to talk about your wife. In the case of Jay Dyer, we understand that Sam said some things about his wife. In particular, he said that that Jay Dyer was going to get divorced, that Jay Dyer was going to get divorced, and those particular things, and just those are just lines you don't really cross, right? You don't, you know, just because somebody told you to debate them, you don't go around saying, "Hey, man, um, you know, your wife and you're gonna get divorced." You know, one doesn't have to do with the other. You feel me? So I just can't get behind that. You know, I have a lot of enemies in the internet. You know, because on the internet you're gonna have enemies. There are people that probably wish I were unalived. Let's just be honest. You know, they're out there. They're out there. There are some people that are sick in the head that essentially wish I were not alive because they hate me because of this, because I'm a Protestant, or I don't believe in once saved always saved, or I reject Calvinism or Reformed theology, or I reject this or that and the third. There are people that hate you. um in fact, I can't say too much, but there was a court case that I was involved in, and that's all I can say. With a situation online with another individual that I had to assist. I can't say any names, I can't give any details, but it gets that crazy. It really does. You know what I'm saying? I've had to do police reports, and I can't say names or anything like that, but I've had to do it twice. There was a guy that claimed that they were gonna shoot me in the skull. That is true, you know, and then what ended up happening is that that guy ended up offing himself, and I still battle with anger with that guy because even though he offed himself, he lived in the neighborhood and wanted to off me. You feel me? But then he offed himself before he offed me. And there were a group of people that were going around saying, "Oh, we feel so bad. He was all these things and all this stuff." And in my mind, I'm like, "What? You feel bad? The man was gonna off me in the head. The man was gonna cap me in the head, but he capped himself." And so these are the things that happen with the internet. So I've been to court once with an internet issue. I've done several police reports, and there was a guy that was going to off me. He was looking for me to off me and cap me in the head. And he was gonna do it because, as I said, he didn't find me, glory to God. But he ended up capping himself, if that makes sense. And I'm using particular language. So he didn't find me, then he capped himself. I'm sure his plan was going to be to cap me and then cap himself. You know, that was going to be his plan for sure. And he wasn't lying because he offed himself. Right. And this is how terrible the internet has gotten with doctrine. Now, do I make smart remarks sometimes? Do I come off as a jerk sometimes? Absolutely. I'm not perfect. But that's just what the reality is with the internet. You got a lot of sickos in the head, a lot of sickos. And do I feel bad about that guy that offed himself? I tell you, I battle every morning. Sometimes we have to forgive people that are in the grave. You know that, right? It's not only about people that are alive. Sometimes there are people in the grave that you got to forgive. You know what I'm saying? And I've said I've forgiven him verbally, but in my heart, sometimes I'm angry. Sometimes I'm like, well, God protected me. Sometimes I'm angry. I'm angry. I really am. You know, and it's just sad that the internet is like that. So yeah, I don't want to say anything more about that particular situation because I probably wouldn't be here right now if he didn't do what he did. But it's just frustrating. I don't feel bad for the record. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel bad that he offed himself, and maybe in time I will, but I at the moment I will not, you know. And am I angry at him? No, just upset. I'm just perplexed. It's just I kind of don't know how to feel. Like that human being was gonna take me out and take me out and then take himself out. And this is documented, by the way. There's witnesses. There are witnesses to this. Oh, and I actually have the text messages. I never deleted them, even after he offed himself. I never deleted them. I still read them from time to time, you know? But this is the internet. You know what I'm saying? This is the internet. You have a bunch of freaks in the world. You know what I'm saying? Now, to be fair, right, there are two examples because I did mention the examples of people that see you in real life and they talk crazy and then they don't do nothing. But then there are the cycles on the internet that because they hear so many people making exposed videos on a particular person, they want to off them. So that's the reality. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you make an exposed video on somebody, you slander them, you say this, you say that, there is a chance that one of their cycle follow like let's keep it 100. You don't think that there are certain Catholic apologists out there that talk crazy? I'm not going to say any names because I don't want anything, but you don't think there are certain Catholic apologists, certain people out there that when they say things about people's moms, they call them names, they do all this, that they don't have psycho followers that go, oh, if I were to see that person, I would do something in behalf of this particular person? You don't think they don't have those followers? You don't think so? Then you're very naive. You're very, very naive. You know what I'm saying? In fact, there was a guy, and I'll play the video after this last story. There was a guy that followed Smart Christian's channel. He was on Smart Christian's channel, who said he wanted to see me in real life. Like me and Smart Christian's channel were going back and forth about once saved, always saved. And in the comments section, he wrote, JP, if I see you is on site. Like, I want to see you. You know? So these people are crazy, brother. These people are crazy. Now, that's not to say that if I see a man that's going to try to end my life, that I'm not going to do something to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? But it is crazy that over doctrine or something like that, somebody will be willing to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people are blessed in Texas and other states, because in those particular states, you can have a gat on you. You feel me? And if any psycho goes, oh, you're a heretic, you give them boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. They done. Feel me? They done. Oh, get him, heretic. You get your gat, boom, 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 boom. That's it. You feel me? In New York, that's not the case. If somebody goes, oh, JP, heretic, it's these two right here and the Holy Spirit, and that's it. Because in New York, if you defend yourself and they get off, you're liable. It's almost like in New York, if somebody comes after you, you just got to let them off you. Because if you off them while they're trying to off you, then it's your fault. That's New York for you. Wicked, wicked city, son of the devil city. You know the politics, anyways. Can't even defend yourself. So I'm saying, if you in Georgia or in Florida or in Texas, don't come out here, man. Keep your gap. You feel me? Keep it. Anyways, with that said, that's just some stories of the deals that I've had to the things I've had to deal with on the internet. You feel me? That's just some of the things. It's a lot of psychos out there, a lot of wackos, you know what I'm saying? So that's just my thing. And I believe in self-defense, you know what I'm saying? I do believe in self-defense. Um, if there's a wacko that's gonna come after you, bloom bloom, oh you heretic, blah blah blah. Handle your business and handle it well. You know what I'm saying? Handle your business, I believe in self-defense. Now, anyways, with that said, let's carry on and let's continue playing this video. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent, but in short, Sam Shamoon essentially said Jay Dyer was gonna get divorced, and now Jay Dyer is saying he's taking the higher road. That's what's happening right here. So let's carry on.
I mean, that would be my guess, but I don't know.
Yeah. In that, I defended you because Redeem Zoomer, I think, responded to something. I defended you and I said, hey, like, Jay's been nothing but kind in our interactions privately and publicly. And I think like Sam's crossed the line. And then people started replying to me and are like, well, Jay is not always the kindness and he's not always the nicest. And there was a thing about something about Coptic Christians and you were mocking Coptic Christians that were martyred.
No, I didn't mock anything. I questioned the legitimacy
of the videos
because mainstream news articles said that the videos are questionable. So all I did was repeat what was in the news. And I didn't say for sure that I just said, we don't know on the basis of just this piece of evidence.
Got it.
So I've always thought like there's nothing wrong being skeptical about authoritative claims and sources. And if you look at where those videos come out of, they're dubious sources, but I don't know. So people assume that, well, I'm saying for sure that nobody's.
That is true. There's a particular, I forgot what the situation was, where there were people, I forgot what it was. My friend Joey had the article. This country that lost its government and ISIS took over, I think it was, and everybody was saying Christians are being murdered, Christians are being murdered. Help, help, Christians are being murdered, and nobody says anything. Well, it actually turns out Christians weren't actually being murdered. That was fake news and propaganda from CBN. Yes, it's true that ISIS took over the government. I forgot what it was. I forgot what country it was. Yes, I think it was Libya. Could have been Libya. I forgot what it was. Let me ask my friend Joy. I'll text my friend Joy. He'll respond. Hold on. Yo, Joey, what country was it that you told me it was fake news that Christians were getting murdered? What country was it where they were inflating the numbers to make it seem like it was more than what it was? And then there was a study done, and the Muslims weren't actually going after the Christians. They were going after the Iraqi army, I think it was, or Syria. Syria, I think it might have been Syria. Confirm for me. I'm live right now, so just tell me. All right. So yes, it was probably, yes, I think it was Syria. There were people claiming, hey, chill out. There were people claiming that there were a bunch of Christians getting off in Syria. Oh, Christians are dying. Christians are dying. Christians are getting offed. Christians are getting offed. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. No, they're not. Not as high as you're saying they are. And then the problem is that here's the problem. The problem is that when you say Christians are getting killed when they're not, now you're gonna really get Christians killed. So I think that was it. No, I don't think it was in Egypt. I think it was Libya or Syria. I think it was Syria. Yeah, I definitely think it was Syria. Not in Egypt. I think it was Syria. I'm pretty sure it was Syria. In fact, let me look this up. Hold on. Give me a second, because my friend actually showed me an article. Found it. Okay. There we go. I found it. All right, so check this out, fellas. Check this out. This is why you can't believe all the propaganda the Christians tell you, because Christians are propaganda artists. Even the good-meaning ones. You know what I'm saying? Even the good-meaning ones. Misleading reports about slaughter of Christians could endanger Assyrians, says Open Doors experts. So all that baloney, all these live streams, all these Christians are getting murdered by the hundreds and thousands and no one reports of it. Baloney, it's not true. and there's many sources that say this. Apparently, there's no evidence of Christians being targeted out there. So it was a bunch of baloney. You know what I'm saying? And the problem with this is that when you make these reports, you actually put Christians in danger. You actually do. So, and there's many reports like this. There's many reports like this. So, are there Christians dying? Perhaps, but not as much as the fake news was reporting. And I have to say it, a lot of Christians are propaganda artists. There are a lot of them. All the Christians saying, oh my gosh, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Christians dying. And that's just not true. You know, it's just not true. You know? So, you know, it's just the reality is that a lot of people don't do their homework. And, you know, it's sad, it's unfortunate, but let's carry on. What do I put on my beard? Vanilla bean extract. Brother, I put fruits and berries. Let me know if you get that. Let me know if you get that reference. Fruits and berries. Okay, let's carry on.
Nobody's ever been martyred. Nobody's ever been killed. No, I was just taking a skeptical attitude. And I still take skeptical attitudes too. When I see an immediate fluid situation where something's developing, just happening, I'm not going to immediately buy into it. I'm going to wait and see. And I've always had that attitude.
Got it. Why wait until this entire thing premieres on YouTube? Why not sign up for interviews a little on Patreon?
Changing gender.
Why even business prediction?
So that was pretty much it regarding that. Now, somebody said 50,000 Christians killed. I don't deny that, right? But I'm saying, let's not just say that every Christian is dying in a particular area when it's not true. I will say this. If particular demographics of people come to New York, a lot of Christians will die there because there's no right to bear arms out here, man. New York is terrible. All right, so let's review this discussion that James White had with Corey Moeller. I'm simply going to reference it. I'm not going to review the whole thing. But what I will say is this: I think that this debate was utterly ridiculous. Not because
it's not.
You're not. Everybody knows.
Okay, let me see where I can find the cross.
All right.
You wrote that credit.
Yeah, I would have to find the cross examination when Corey is cross examining James White. This was one of the stupidest debates I've ever seen in my life. And when I heard the topic at hand, I didn't think it would be this bad. Simply because I didn't know the guy was such an idiot. You know, I thought that this debate would be something that is. I figured the guy wasn't sick in the head. You feel me? The guy James White wasn't debating. Now, with a guy this sick in the head, that James White was debating a guy that was sick in the head. I mean, this guy's talking about, can Christians get pregnant? Can Christians fly? Are platypuses poisonous? These are the things that he's asking James White in the cross-examination. And to me, I think that there was a positive in this particular debate, that it did unite certain Christians. It did. There were Christians that would never be seen in the same room. But I will say that there are better things to debate. For example, Warren McGrew, an open theist. That is a debate that a lot of Calvinists have not been doing well in. Why not debate that? Hebrew Israelites, why not debate that? You know, debate something that's more relevant to what we're dealing with today. Nobody's paying attention to these idiots. You know what I'm saying? Now, the moderator did fine. Also, something else I want to mention, James White has taken some brutal losses as of late. I think that James White did very bad in those debates against Trent Horn. It didn't really go his way. And I think James White has been brutally knocked out in recent debates. And you just got to be honest and say that he did. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go too well. He did okay against Voice of Reasons. I got to give him credit. He did okay against Voice of Reasons. I would argue that he probably won. But those Trent Horn debates are brutal. And so what this discussion looks like is a tune-up fight kind of thing. You know, like he took this debate to kind of just, you know, you took two brutal losses and you need to kind of just get yourself back up, is what it looked like to me. I mean, it was just a dumb debate. It was dumb. You know, it was really, really dumb. If I can find this cross examination, if anybody wants to go back and look for me, or I think I found it. Hold on.
And marched us through the desert, we would not have built a gold.
Let me see. Hold on.
Don't believe in that.
I mean, I don't understand why I don't understand why these guys don't add timestamps, man.
Sport abilities at sport.
But it was really ridiculous. Let me see. Where is this?
For himself with regard.
If I can't find it, then it is what it is, you know? As a matter of fact, I know how I'm going to find it. I know how I'm going to find it. All right? Okay, I know how I'm going to find it. Give me a second. Okay? I actually did a little review. So, yeah, it's confirmed it was Syria. So, I actually did a little discussion with this with Idol Killer. And we were just laughing, you know what I'm saying? It was just a hilarious debate. Now, somebody said, according to Calvinists, James White never loses. That's what I always tell people. If you want to know if a Calvinist is sincere, or if they're honest, or if they're brainwashed, ask them if James White ever lost a debate. That's always the key. Before you talk to a Calvinist, ask them one question. Has James White ever lost a debate? If they say no, James White is the best we've had. He's one of the greatest apologists of all time. I can't recall him ever losing. That's it. Don't even bother discussing with that Calvinist. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. Anyways, how you guys doing today?
And I'm asking questions about what God did.
Becoming a Christian to
Document moral evil.
I think I found it. I think I found it. Yeah, I found it. All right. I think I found it. All right. Uh, 1 second. You know, we're not doing commercials. We're just doing look at JP till he finds us. That's what we're doing. I think I got it though.
And I hope everyone has been able to see the curse of
Instead of magically he is set for creation and then taken.
God can't. No. So that's the problem. So said.
Really too. Because you are supposed to love.
The time will start whenever you choose to. Alrighty.
Yo, I cannot find this. I think I'm cursed. I think I'm cursed, man. I mean, generational curses are a thing, right? Can't even find it.
Mr. Motley, you have said whites and blacks are not equal, and you have added.
Okay, this is James White cross-examination.
Did God lie?
I found it. I found it. Let me just see the start of it.
In Leviticus 19:32, it says you should.
I found it. I found it. Okay, fellas, we found it.
To the same degree in time.
Scythian, slave, and free man. Would you agree their originating is no
To be perhaps a little more comfortable because of in this case it's not true.
if God wanted to do that in an out package, sorry,
Because when they were Butler,
Yo, Bible dingers, you guys did bad, man. You guys did bad. Like, how you have a debate with 68,000 views and you don't put timestamps, bro? This is terrible, bro. My goodness.
Typically regrow lost limbs.
Wow, I really hope we get back to the subject someday, but no, he doesn't.
When a man converts to Christianity, does he typically gain the ability to fly?
All right, I found it, but man, this is ridiculous. Like, you guys got to get on that timestamp, man. It's terrible, bro. All right, so I found it. Look at how ridiculous some of these questions are. Now, like I said, I think this was bad. I don't think there's anything to celebrate about this kind of W. You know what I'm saying? This is bad. This sucked. The guy beat himself. The guy beat himself. I think that the guy beat himself. There was a black brother that debated this guy, the white guy, and unfortunately, from what I hear, it went the distance. But let's go there. Let's go there now, and let's see the amount of questions that he asked. Okay, let's go there, and let's just see. It's so ridiculous. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Now, gospel truth. From what I heard from that debate, they went the distance. Like, I don't understand how you go the distance with this white guy. Oh, they're both white, but Corey, right? And as far as I'm concerned, all Corys debate the same. I don't know. I've never heard of a Corey that was a good debater. Never. I never heard of a Corey that was a good debater. All Corys are terrible in debating, whether they're white or they're black. But okay, let's play this because this was bad.
To include also the bald head of the old man. Yes.
All right.
I would like to start with a lighthearted question just to sort of change the tone for a minute. In Leviticus 19:32, it says, "You shall stand up before the gray head and honor the face of an old man." As another man who is clearly balding, would you be willing to say that gray hair could certainly be interpreted to include also the bald head of the old man as a sign? Sort of self-serving question.
A very self-serving question. Yes. Actually, most of mine was worn off by wearing a cycling helmet for 170,000 miles. So that's the problem.
That would certainly do that. So to move on to the
gospel truth, you got to chill with the rage bait. You know what I'm saying? Like, this doesn't work anymore. You have to be more creative, like that's too obvious. That's just rage bait. It's kind of like you're like the Catholics that go on Twitter and go, Mary is stronger than Satan. Mary is the best woman in the universe, just rage baiting. It's like, bro, like, come on now. You got to do better than those rage baits. All right, let's go.
The second question, a little more serious. Per your confession, infants cannot have faith. Is that correct?
That's not the topic of our debate, but I believe that faith is a work of regeneration.
You know what's interesting? This guy pressed James White on infant damnation. Ironically, James White is willing to debate if a black man can be sanctified like a white man, but James White won't debate if an infant can go to heaven or go to hell, right? He won't debate infant damnation, which he believes. Isn't that funny? So this topic is okay, but infant damnation, James White doesn't want to debate. That's a hell of a and it comes to show you. It comes to show you that a lot of these guys, man, like this is a joke. This debate was a joke. Now the Bible dingers did an excellent job moderating. They were fair. They set it up. They were fair. Okay, they were fair. So this is not an attack on the Bible dingers. They moderated fairly. They did good. They must have some kind of piece of crap computer because I don't understand how the live chat can freeze a computer. I never witnessed a live chat freezing a computer. So they must have a piece of crap computer. So hopefully they can get some level of funding so they can get a better computer. Because can you guys imagine if I were to tell you, hey guys, the live chat is ruining the connection. So other than that, I mean, there's really no issue, but This debate right here was one of the worst debates that I can actually even think about, because I mean, what's the point of this? You feel me? Like, the debate a Hebrew, bro, I can name you 5 Hebrew Israelites that would have made this a better debate. I legitimately believe Corey is sick in the head. I legitimately believe, you know what I'm saying? Like, I legitimately believe that. I don't think Corey is well. I don't think he's well. He doesn't look well. His reflexes don't look well. He doesn't look like he's all there. The guy just look at the guy looks high. Look at his eyes. You know, like, the guy doesn't look like he's there. So you're talking about James White, and James White is debating this guy on this topic, but doesn't want to debate on the topic of infant damnation, which I think is much more important than black people being sanctified by the Holy Spirit in comparison to white people. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous, that particular premise. I mean, and if you're gonna debate that topic, debate a Hebrew Israelite, right? Because you know, somebody said, Joe, you're crazy. Look at his head, bro. I'm telling you, these guys. This was a terrible debate. This was bad. Even worse were the Christians celebrating like they hit a home run. This is no home run. Now, the Bible dingers, if the Bible dingers do things to unite Christians, and in doing so, they did that. I think the Bible dingers did something that has never been seen before. You have provisionists, Catholics, Orthodox, Pentecostals, everybody siding with James White. So if there's anybody that achieved unity, it was the Bible dingers. They did history. They broke down. So you gotta give it to the Bible dingers. But this is not about them. This is more so about James White. That was bad. That was bad. It's just a dumb debate. You know, that's what I'm saying. So the Bible dingers get an A. So let me rate it to you. Bible dingers A. A on uniting Christians. A on the way they moderated this. A all around. The letter Z on the way that they didn't add chapters, because that was terrible. Like, how do you not add chapters to something like this? You gotta add chapters. You know what I'm saying? So that's where they failed. They get a Z. And I'm not talking about a Dragon Ball Z, you know, because when you play Dragon Ball Z, you know, you get a Z as in good, like Z is good, because Z stands for Dragon Ball Z. You know, let's just be simple. They get an F. You know, they get an F. You know. So yeah, so let's carry on.
Infants are born in Adam's, they'd have to be regenerated to have saving faith. So if God wanted to do that in an outlier situation, you know, we can have a debate on that at some point in time.
Did you hear what James White said, that when a baby gets saved and is regenerated, that's an outlier situation, which means that by and large babies go to hell. But this is not a topic he's trying to debate. He'd rather debate, can black people be sanctified like white people? It's really ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And why is it the Calvinists don't want to debate that topic? You know, I got a bone to pick. You know, why don't you want to debate that topic? You should. Is it because everybody's gonna hate you because you're defending babies going to hell? So that bothers you because you know that it doesn't look good to defend a doctrine where God is sending babies to hell, so you just don't want to be that guy. But if it's true and you believe babies go to hell, debate the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, the reason I mentioned that is because, you know, Corey didn't mention it here. And, you know, given the premise, you know what I'm saying? Can people like Corey, well, no, can people based on Corey's premise that are black, you know, so can they receive sanctification? How, you know, but let's carry on.
Well, not you and I, but others. But anyway.
Do you distinguish between direct faith and reflexive faith, or do you not distinguish those?
No, I think the New Testament's very clear that the gift of faith is one that has as its object the person of Jesus Christ. So when we have young children, not infants, but young children who come forward, profession of faith, desiring to be baptized, we specifically ask them who they're believing in, what they understand about him, before we give baptism to them.
Would you say that it's fair that you conceptualize faith, saving faith, as a conscious trust in Christ and his completed work?
Yes.
Are men conscious when they are asleep?
Not in the normal use of that term.
Are men conscious when they sleep? What the heck?
Are men conscious when they are in a coma?
Same answer.
Do you hold to or agree with the 1689 London Baptist Confession of Faith?
Yes.
Can the leopard change his spots?
No.
These are some of the dumbest questions I've ever heard in my. I mean, it's crazy, man. Carry on.
Can the Ethiopian change his skin?
Not according to Jeremiah.
Do you know the etymology of the word Ethiopian?
A lot of argumentation about that. In fact, Cushite, Ethiopian, immense amount of disagreement and argumentation over that particular concept. A lot of people have come to the conclusion that Ethiopian simply meant people at the farthest reaches of the known world at that time. It's used poetically, so it's really hard to say.
Are you aware of the etymology that is given for the Greek in Little Scott? LSJ?
For what?
For Ethiopian.
I could look it up for you if you'd like me to.
Does God call the Israelites a stiff-necked people?
Yes, he certainly does, and then uses
Does he do it
them
once
to write
or
a
more
great
than
deal
once?
of the Old Testament.
Does he do it once or more than once?
Many times.
Was Paul wrong to express the desire to be cut off from salvation if thereby he could save members of his own race, in his words, his brothers according to the flesh?
Of course not.
When a man converts to Christianity, does he typically become biologically immortal, which is to say, in time, not in eternity?
No.
When a man converts to Christianity, does he typically regrow lost limbs?
Wow, I really hope we get back to the subject someday, but no, he doesn't.
I mean, this is crazy, man. Do you become immortal as a Christian man in time? Do you regrow? I mean, these are very crazy questions, Now, James White is going, I hope we get to the topic, but what do you mean can we get to the topic? The man is come on.
When a man converts to Christianity, does he typically gain the ability to fly?
Could we get to something about the subject, please?
Please answer the question.
It's an absurd question.
Then it should be easy to answer.
Right, but I'm done with the absurd questions. Get to the questions that are relevant.
This is cross-examination. This is cross-examination.
Can a man fly? Yeah. Kai Fly, don't slander me, Kai Fly. Don't slander me. I did a live stream on my second channel with Warren McGrew. So don't slander me. I didn't run. I dealt with it. Don't slander me. All right. Yeah, so can a man fly? Can a Christian fly? I mean, these are some of the most ridiculous questions I've ever heard in my life, man. And the man actually doubled down and he said, well, if it's an absurd question, just answer it. He said, just answer it. I mean, man, let's carry on.
No, it's in a debate. So you're supposed to be asking about what I've said in the debate. I said nothing about flying. This is a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of the audience's time too. Please try to respect
I believe the audience, at least some of the audience, I believe some of the audience knows exactly.
I do agree. Let's keep the questions on topic, please.
I believe he's answered it sufficiently. I was going to move on anyway.
Flying is not a part of the debate.
Can Christ abandon or relinquish his humanity?
Abandon or relinquish his humanity?
Yes.
No, he's the God-man. That's how we even have union with Christ, is we are in him, as the second Adam. What does this have to do with the thesis?
Can God cease to exist?
No.
Can God commit moral evil?
No.
Can God, according to his divine nature, die?
No.
I assure you the questions are on topic because we are asking fundamentally about what God can and cannot do. And I am asking questions about what God can do. Can God cease to be God?
No.
Can God lie? Can men get pregnant? Perhaps tying into your earlier comments about Africans and men and women.
No.
Can God make a man pregnant?
So please keep the questions on topic.
I assure you that I am asking questions
No,
about
you're
the
not,
topic
and everybody
itself.
knows it.
It's not.
You're not, and everybody knows
The
it.
question, the question.
There you have it, man. That was the debate in a nutshell. Big waste of time. Big waste of time. Big waste of time. Now, regarding Sola Scriptura, I know that Capturing Christianity made a video on Sola Scriptura. I am planning on maybe making a stream dedicated to it. As you guys can see, Capturing Christianity. So the man said that he spent a year. There we go. Let me go here. The man said he spent a year researching Sola Scriptura and 9 reasons why they are false. 9 reasons. So I guess I'm gonna leave Protestantism now, man, because this guy right here found 9 reasons why they're false. So I guess what I can do is this. I did want to keep this live stream about an hour, and we're clearly approaching the 1 hour mark. So what I'm gonna simply do is I'm gonna cover this on my second channel. Maybe I could do it at 10 o'clock sharp. And if anybody is interested in joining, you guys can watch that. So what I'm going to do is this. It's going to be very simple. Because we're already approaching the hour mark, and I'm trying to keep these live streams. I'm trying to keep these live streams at a 1 hour mark at the very least. I'm not trying to, go 3, 4, 5 hours. So what I'm going to do is very simple. God bless you, my brother. I'm going to set this stream up for 10 o'clock on my second channel. And if people want to talk Sola Scriptura over there, we can talk Sola Scriptura over there. I assure you that these arguments are probably not going to really work because I have an argument that no one can refute when it comes to Sola Scriptura. I have an argument no one can refute, no one has refuted. Because all you have to do when it comes to Sola Scriptura is this. You have your doctrines. Okay, very beautiful. You have your doctrines. Okay, do those doctrines contradict one of the authorities? If you have one authority and you have another authority, and one of those authorities contradicts the other authority, you have a problem. So if you believe in this authority, how come that authority contradicts this authority? Because this authority teaches the opposite of what this authority says. So let me make the thing right now. Give me 1 second. God bless you, brother Warren. Just came back just for you, my brother. Just nothing but love. But let me deal with this real quick. I'm gonna start the stream for 10 o'clock on my second channel, and we can discuss it over there. Because we're pretty much approaching an hour in this thing, so I don't want to go over an hour here. So give me a second. Capturing Christianity. Yo, I can promise you that we're going to review that video. Let me see. Save. And we'll see. So we're gonna go back on it. So I'm starting it now. So there you go. And I'll see you guys on the other channel at 10 o'clock. Everybody, before you leave this channel, everybody make sure to drop a like. So I want everybody to drop a like. That's what I want everybody to do. So if you're here, drop a like. Every like helps. God bless you guys for that. And I'm going to set up the stream for 10 o'clock. Okay, where is it? JP Uncut. There we are. Got it. All right. All right. So we have it posted. So as soon as I end the stream, you guys will be redirected. So I'll see you guys there. Good live stream, 1 hour, straight to the point, not 3 hours, not 4 hours, not 5 hours. You know, I think that this format is much better. Nice, clean, straight to the point, you know, and that's it. Because the 5, 7, 8 hour streams ain't it. Not for this channel. So drop a 1 if you guys enjoyed the stream and drop a like, and I'm out of here.